part of the
Category 5 Hurricane Milton is being described. This is happening less than 2 weeks after another hurricane hit the Gulf Coast as a Category 4 storm, killing at least 225 people across Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia and North Carolina. Tampa Mayor Jane Castor has this warning for Tampa locals on CNN yesterday.
And I can say without any dramatization whatsoever, if you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
Matt Faustini is one of the people, alongside his diabetic mother, packing up right now to leave behind their home in Lago, Florida, and enter a shelter, which has a special generator to keep his mother's essential medication safely stored. I caught up with him early this morning and I asked what the weather was like where he was at that point.
It's kind of the calm before the storm, with the storm slowing down a little bit. We're not looking for impacts until tomorrow afternoon, where it was supposed to be earlier. So everyone's kind of just holding their breath and waiting to see what happens.
And you're having to go into prep mode, I believe.
Yes. I've lived in Florida my entire life, so luckily we're kind of used to this, and my family is. You know, we have water, food, gas, cash, all sorts of things. My mom has diabetes, so her insulin needs to be refrigerated. So we'll be evacuating to a shelter tomorrow morning to ride out the storm and hopefully come back to a home intact.
I very much hope so too. But just what does that mean in terms of going into a shelter? Is that underground? How does that work?
So actually, pretty much the geography of our county, in the worst case scenario, we have enough high ground to where the peninsula of Pinellas would be cut into two islands. So when we built our schools, we built to serve as hurricane shelters. Currently, right now, I believe we have 10 shelters open.
And what is that like? What are these shelters like? Have you been in one before?
Actually, this will be our first time. We rode out Irma, which was 2018, which was much weaker than this. And our home is a very strong home. We have a good roof, concrete build, but unfortunately our windows are the original from when it was built in the 1970s. So we're really worried about that. And they barely held on during Irma, so we don't want to take the risk this time.
I can completely understand why. I just wonder how you're feeling at this point. I know you say you've grown up around this and you prepare, but it's being described as it could be the worst storm of this century in the area.
It's kind of daunting, and it's hard to think about. There's part of you when you live here, because we've been so lucky, where so many storms have missed us. The biggest thing that we're worried about here, especially in my city, is we have a large senior population, and a lot of them live in mobile homes that were built in the 70s and 80s. And the winds, even if we don't get the storm surge, 30% of our housing stock in our city is mobile homes. So this could be, even if we don't get the storm surge, catastrophic to so many of our senior citizens.
Yeah, that will be, I'm sure, very concerning. And even if you are in a shelter, then it's what you come back to afterwards, isn't it? But there is also, I imagine, a community coming together and preparing as well.
Yes, it's amazing, right now, to help everyone coming together. My neighbor actually had some extra wood, so they helped us put wood on the two windows that we're concerned the most about. We have a ton of extra water, so we'll be able to provide water to our neighbors if we're out of running water. It's a whirlwind of emotions.
Yeah, that's one way, I suppose, of describing it when you're preparing for something like this. Just a final thought, Matt. What small things do you make sure you take with you from your home, just in case?
So the biggest thing for us, some really important family heirlooms, actually. My family actually does have a English and Scottish ancestry. So we have a coat of arms that's been handed down in our family. We have a family tree that goes back to the Great Fire in London.
Wow.
That was hand done by my great grandmother. you can replace TVs, and that kind of stuff.
That's why I asked, because I just think it's a very different thing to pack for. I do hope it's not necessary to have packed those things. I hope you go back to a home that's intact, and I hope everybody, most importantly, stays safe. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Matt Faustini there with what it's like to prepare to go into a shelter as Hurricane Milton approaches.
It is a terrifying prospect, and it's not just a local news story. We're here in about an hour's time from a local politician who reminded me that Florida, if it were a country, would be one of the largest economies on the planet. So this is going to have a dramatic impact on the United States economy, potentially, and therefore potentially on us all. Much more on that coming up in about an hour's time. It's coming up to 7:15.